infrastructure and spending plan.
We can't allow this thing to just keep dragging on because the need is there today.
I think America is waking up and saying we didn't sign up for this. This is not part of the package that Biden promised.
California teens can go to an amusement park, but they can't go back to the classroom.
Yeah, I think we just really need to highlight what a preposterous situation we are now in California.
And I am absolutely certain, 100% certain, that at the end of the investigation, that I will be cleared of any wrongdoing.
You're 100% certain?
I'm 100% certain.
Cobb County in Georgia predicts they will lose $100 million in revenue now that Major League Baseball has moved their All-Star game.
There is undoubtedly going to be a cost. I think that was the point Major League Baseball was trying to make.
In the state of Texas, Jordan Spieth breaks the winless drought.
Good for him. What a win.
No, they're Atlanta, I know, because of all this boycott stuff, but I think they have a facility there in downtown Jacksonville. The Jaguars are there.
Yeah,
so pretty.
And they got CAA with a huge facility there. There's a lot of corporations moving. They're all being recruited heavily by the governor of the state, and Governor Rick Scott was extremely aggressive. But it's all building the infrastructure. Yes, the infrastructure of Florida is being built by its state and using tax revenue to do it. Now we're talking about an infrastructure bill in the United States that's going to cost the first of two. The first one's going to cost about $2.2 trillion. And you're not going to believe it. They're looking to pass it by Memorial Day. Even Nancy Pelosi was going, we're hoping to get it by July 4th, but they're looking to pass it by Memorial Day. And they're looking to do find a way to do it without any Republican support and it's all the pressure's going to be in the parliamentarian who's already getting pressure to say that this is reconciliation worthy.
Or if the parliamentarian won't do that, just overrule them. Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary of Transportation, says they gotta get going on this fast because that's what the boss wants. Listen.
We know that this is entering a legislative process where we're going to be hearing from both sides of the aisle, and I think you'll find the president's got a very open mind. But time is of the essence, so we'll look at these ideas on how to pay for it. We'll look at ideas on where the investments ought to be, too. But the president is hoping for major progress from Congress before Memorial Day, and we can't allow this thing to just keep dragging on because the need is there today.
You know, and so many Republicans have said, you know, for an infrastructure bill, there's not a lot of bridges and tunnels, actual infrastructure in it. When you take a look at the largest single line item, the number one most expensive thing is $400 billion over 8 years to create millions of healthcare jobs. And there is a big string attached by the White House. The White House fact sheet says the money will be tied to healthcare workers getting the ability to collectively bargain. In other words, they will have to unionize, which suddenly puts them in whose pocket going forward for the next 8 years, which, oh, that's right, Joe Biden, his plan is to be president for 8 years. Wouldn't that be handy?
Raising the corporate tax from 21% under President Trump up to 28% under Biden. What's interesting is that first bill, the COVID relief bill, only 9% went to COVID relief. And this one, we're reading...
That's Green New Deal.
This is the new Green Deal. That Joe Biden was the moderate that can get elected. Nobody with those severe left-wing views would have gotten elected. But if you pretend to be a moderate and you go ahead and implement those left-wing programs, there's nothing you can do. One of those things that came up with Land Commissioner George P. Bush, here's what he said about what he saw in that bill and how it affects the states.
A lot of people didn't like President Trump's attitude. They didn't like some of his tweets, and they probably liked his policies. But now you're seeing 60 days, 90 days, 120 days in, the different America they have and the difference in policies. Do you think they're realizing how good they had it?
Absolutely. I think America is waking up and saying we didn't sign up for this. This is not part of the package that Biden promised. What you see in terms of the stimulus plan, very small percentage devoted to actual COVID relief. And now we're looking at this infrastructure bill. Our estimate shows that only 7% is really devoted to roads and highways and actual infrastructure. $400 billion for home care and community care. Give me a break. This is false advertising. And I think the American people are waking up to it.
Well, Roy Blunt, who is a Republican senator from the great state of Missouri, he said yesterday that Republicans could get on board with an infrastructure bill if it was closer to $615 billion.
Absolutely.
Then you could have buy-in from the Republicans if the White House would promise that they would pay for it another way other than, to your point, Ainsley, than raising the corporate taxes up to close to 30%. But the Republican plan right now at this point is to, if they're going to go through with this $2.2 trillion bill, to sit on the sidelines so that the Democrats are saddled with those tax rate increases and a government spending spree like we've never seen.
It's so expensive. Remember, they were up in arms when President Trump wanted to spend, I think it was 300 billion. Now they want to spend trillions of dollars on this. Brian, that was a great interview. Tell the folks at home what you were telling us during the commercial break about how the different states, the federal land, what's...
This is just real quick on oil and gas, and we'll have it a little bit later. Just so you know, if you're a Texas company, you can invest in other states. So what they did, there's a lot of people in West Texas that go and get placed in New Mexico. And when you say there's no more federal drilling and exploration, Wyoming and New Mexico are full of federal land, like 35%, even more in Wyoming. So it isn't just a minor pause. You basically have stopped the industry. You know who high fives? Russia and OPEC. I never thought that was in America's best interest, but that's for a little bit later in the show.
And more with the land commissioner coming up at 8:25, I do believe.
Who says he's probably going to run for AG. More to come.
No question.
All right. Meanwhile, let's talk about, it looks as if there's a glimmer of light out in California. The teachers are apparently ready to return to work, but, and it's a big but, they say we still need some sort of free health care, which is child care. Thank you very much. In San Diego, in San Jose, and Sacramento, they have approved bringing the teachers' children into the classroom. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, what they're saying, we will go to the classroom, but first we have got to stay at home until we are given the money to pay for childcare. So you've got to subsidize our childcare, which they say was a big problem even before. And a lot of parents are going, wait a minute, I work at a grocery store, I'm a frontline worker, or I'm in healthcare, and nobody made those kind of deals for me. They see that it is completely uneven.
This is Maya Daniels. She's a Los Angeles Unified teacher, and she has this online petition calling on the school board to offer support. She wants them to pay for the child care. She says, yes, we know health care and essential workers have faced these challenges all year. However, a competition to the bottom is not in any of our best interests. We do not want anything we don't believe everyone is entitled to, employer support for children and families. So first, they wanted to be able to bring their children to work. And the unions said, and the businesses said, yes, you can do that. Bring your kids to work. They can Zoom or they can do their online classes from the office. That's fine, since you don't have childcare at home. And now they're saying, they're taking it a step further and saying, we want our child care paid for. But if you ask parents there, they're saying, oh my gosh, we were so close to reopening, and now there's something else they're requesting. And then
there's always something else.
There's always another hurdle, right? So the parents are kind of giving up and saying, we don't even know if this is ever going to happen.
By the way, it's already April. Usually school wraps up in June.
True.
And by the way, I believe, and you would know better, Ainsley, don't they get paid as much, if not more, than almost every state in the union?
It depends.
Think about South Carolina. Think about Florida. How much more they get in California?
A small salary, but they do get health benefits. They get state benefits when they retire after X amount of years, and that's wonderful. That's been helpful with my mom with what she's gone through with her health care. But in New York, the teachers make, I want to say they make on an average maybe $30,000. In South Carolina, depends on if you have your master's, if you're board certified. But up in New York, I'm hearing, y'all would know better, 6 figures, right? You can make 100,000.
In some cases, that certainly is the case in New Jersey, where I live. Ainsley had a great interview with Jean Noble, an associate professor of emergency medicine out in California, and she put together, was it a tweet?
She did. She
that showed what teenagers in Oakland and San Francisco, Oakland, California, and San Francisco can and cannot do. So, Ainsley, I tell you what, you read what the teenagers can do, and then I'll do what they cannot do.
Okay, they can eat in restaurants.
They can't go to math class.
They can watch movies in theaters.
They can't go to English class.
They can go bowling inside.
They can't go to science class.
They can shop in stores.
They can't go to history class.
They can work in offices.
They can't go to language class.
They can go to amusement parks.
They can't attend PE class outside.
They can attend houses of worship.
They can't attend music and dance class in person.
And they can work out at gyms and indoor pools and attend outdoor live events.
And they can't have Spirit Week for social, emotional health. So there's a lot you can do, but there's a lot you can't.
Yeah, California, a mess. This governor's being recalled on top of that, so we'll see where that...
Plus, his kids are in school.
Right, his kids are in private school.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we have a soundbite from. I think we have a soundbite from that interview.
We do.
This was
Do you have it with you?
Dr. Gene Noble. Let me pick it up. Let's get it right out of my bag. Okay, here we go.
Hit play.
I've got the app.
He has given cash incentives to get schools to open. He put teachers in the front of the line for vaccinations, but that wasn't good enough. There are new demands by the teachers' unions, longstanding labor grievances for subsidized childcare and housing subsidies and shorter work days, which are potentially all valid labor complaints, but they shouldn't be made on the backs of our children. The California Teachers Association has more than 300,000 members. They make political contributions to Gavin Newsom. And kids are not voters, and kids do not make political contributions. So there's not the same political pressure to open our schools as there has been to open our businesses.
So for a while it was, we're not going to go back to school until they change the ventilation. Then we're not going to go back to school until we get vaccinations. And now it is, we're not going to go back to school in some cases until we get subsidized childcare.
When the unions give you millions of dollars to get reelected, you do what they say.
But
that's what they're doing.
they have 4 stimulus programs for big checks to all these schools. Where's that money?
Yeah.
It should be until you open, you don't get $1. But that's not going to be the way it is.
Guess who pays the price? The
kids.
Students, the kids.
Absolutely. All right. Meanwhile, the Texas Rangers expecting a full house at today's home opener in Texas.
Do you think they'll get it? Filling the stands to full capacity? Is this indeed 2021?
How exciting is this? Dan Godwin from our Fox affiliate down in Dallas. He's live at Globe Life Field with what we can expect. Hey, Dan.
Good morning, guys. Yes, the Texas Rangers are indeed doing something this afternoon that no other major league teams are doing. Fans will still be required to wear masks when they're in the stadium, except when they're eating or drinking. And social distancing will be required when fans are at the concession stands, walking around the concourse, the perimeter of the field, and when they are entering the stadium. There will be plenty of hand sanitizer, and all transactions in the stadium going to be cashless. The team says the retractable roof on this new stadium will be open today and whenever it's not raining for the first few months of the season. Going forward, the team says it will be selling as many tickets for home games this season as the public wants, but crowd size is going to vary widely after we get past today's home opener. Reporting live at Globe Life Field, Arlington, Texas. Back to you guys.
Yeah, we are so jealous. Full capacity, that is unbelievable. Thanks so much, Dan. Appreciate it.
Progress.
Yeah, let's hope. Yeah, I mean, I was at a Knick game with 1,000 people. It might as well have been empty.
But it was still good to be there, wasn't it?
It was good. Nothing. Yeah, I mean, I had to whisper sometimes during timeout so they could hear each other. So,
all right, Jillian's upstairs. She has some headlines for us. Hey, Jillian.
Good morning, and let's begin with this story. The head of the Capitol Police Union warning the latest deadly attack could lead to an officer exodus. In a statement, the chairman said the force is already struggling with staffing, adding, quote, "I've had many younger officers confide in me that they're actively looking at other agencies and departments right now." Officer Billy Evans died after he was rammed by a car. Suspect Noah Green was shot dead. His family told the Washington Post they believe he was mentally ill due to head trauma from playing football. In a Fox News exclusive, we are learning what a missing California mother allegedly said to family before vanishing. Maya Miliete was last seen on January 7th, the very same day she made an appointment with a divorce attorney. A family member telling Fox News, she said, quote, "If anything happened to me, it would be Larry." The family member referring to Miliete's husband. No suspects have been identified, and detectives are following all leads. Good Morning Britain finds a temporary replacement for Piers Morgan. Adil Ray, a British comedian, is being tapped to host the show until the end of the month. Morgan left Good Morning Britain following a heated exchange over Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's interview with Oprah. Morgan sits down with Tucker Carlson for his first TV interview after his exit. It's available starting at 4 p.m. only on Fox Nation. And Jordan Spieth takes the Valero Texas Open, ending his more than 3-year PGA Tour victory drought. Watch this.
And in the state of Texas, Jordan Spieth breaks the winless drought.
Bet that felt good. Spieth said he never doubted his ability to get back on top. He beat out Charlie Hoffman by just
person. He's a nice kid. I'm glad that to see him win. That's
absolutely.
Awesome.
All right. It's nice to be nice to the nice.
Thank you very much, Jillian. All right, coming up next on this Monday, the media downplayed the allegations for months. Now Hunter Biden tries to set the record straight about his foreign business dealings. Jason Chaffetz heard it all and has observations coming up next.
I'm cooperating completely, and I am absolutely certain, 100% certain, that at the end of the investigation, that I will be cleared of any wrongdoing.
Okay, Hunter Biden telling CBS he'll be fully cleared after the Department of Justice concludes their probe into his finances and other stuff. The investigation is being overseen by one of the few Trump appointees not fired at the DOJ. Here with us now is Jason Chaffetz, Fox News contributor and author of the brand new book, They Never Let a Crisis Go to Waste, The Truth About Disaster Liberalism, available tomorrow everywhere. You can buy it today, and they'll deliver it tomorrow. Jason, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So what do you make of what we heard from Hunter Biden, in addition to saying, you know, they're going to say I'm absolutely fine. They also said that the laptop, which the mainstream media poo-pooed for the longest time, certainly could be his, it turns out.
Well, first of all, he lied right out of the chutes when he said he's cooperating 100%, because you had Senate investigators and senators asking for information and access, never gave it to him. Compare that to Donald Trump Jr., who went in, did interviews, provided all the documents. A huge difference. So don't tell me you're cooperating 100%. You certainly didn't with the United States Senate. The laptop is a joke. I mean, you had Adam Schiff and the other people out there saying this is Russian disinformation. You had social media companies suppressing this information, not even allowing people to talk about it on Twitter and Facebook. Well, it is real. It is there. They do have the documentation for it. And now you finally have Hunter Biden saying, well, yeah, you know, it might be mine. It is his. We all know it's his. And it was wrong for them to suppress that information previously.
Well, you know what, Jason? It's not just Adam Schiff saying that that whole laptop thing invented by the New York Post and Fox News, it was Russian disinformation. Yeah. Not just Adam Schiff. It was actually the man who, during the time between the election and inauguration, was the president-elect. Here is Peter Doocy yelling at a question of Joe Biden, December 22nd, 2020.
Do you still think that the stories from the fall about your son Hunter were Russian disinformation and a smear campaign, like you said?
Yes. God love you, man. You're a one-horse pony. I promise you, my Justice Department will be totally on its own, making its judgments about how they should proceed.
So there you had the president-elect, now president, say, yes, it was Russian disinformation, and then referred to Peter as a one-horse pony, which no, nobody understands.
Yeah, I didn't really understand what Vice President, or then Vice President and President-elect Biden was saying. But I got to tell you, one of the things that's more revealing, actually, out of this interview, latest interview with Hunter Biden, is that he said he spoke with his dad every single day, at least once a day. And this is the same Joe Biden who says, I've never, ever spoken to my son about business. Does anybody really believe that? That is totally unbelievable at this point. And remember, let's stay focused on what the Department of Justice is looking at. You have somebody with zero qualifications flying on Air Force Two, interacting with Russians, or not the Russians, but with the Chinese and the Ukrainians, taking millions of dollars in for the Biden family. Right. And so you even have emails that show up with these texts saying, hey, we need to get a key for my dad because he's going to share this office with a Chinese national. So don't tell me that you've cooperated 100% and now you come out with a book. I mean, it's just... Hollywood doesn't believe this stuff. You can't make this stuff up.
Exactly right. You can't make it up. You know, and it was just a couple of weeks ago that the administration was able to ram through, with no Republican support, the gigantic coronavirus rescue plan. And now they've got this gigantic infrastructure plan. And you know what? This is what you talk about, speaking of books, in your brand new book that comes out tomorrow. They never let a crisis go to waste, because that is what they're doing. They're saying, look, we are in the midst of this coronavirus pandemic. Forget about the fact that the Congressional Budget Office said we'd be pretty much economically out of it without any stimulus. But that's what they're using as the excuse for all this spending.
This book, we go out and name names. We go after people from Biden and Harris and Pelosi and Schumer and Fauci and Whitmer and Newsom and the whole... They take this same playbook. And when I was in Congress, it became as clear as day. They take a crisis, they spin it up, they sell it to the media. The traditional media plays along with it. Think about the Obama-Biden stimulus. $787 billion. Less than 10% went to roads, bridges, and highways. $1.9 trillion stimulus, guess what? Less than 10% goes to actually fight the coronavirus. Now they have another stimulus bill. Oh, it's going to be about infrastructure. Less than 10%. Do you see the pattern here?
Yep.
But they do it on guns. They do it on religion. And we have a whole chapter about how they're going to steal elections, rigging elections for a generation. They've been planning this stuff for years, and that's what we illuminate in the book.
So the book, you can pick it up at your store tomorrow. You can pre-order it right now. It's called They Never Let a Crisis Go to Waste. Plus, as if that's not enough, download Jason's podcast. Go to foxnewspodcast.com. It's Jason in the house, and he is right now. All right, Jason, thank you very much for joining us live.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you.
You bet. All right, coming up, Major League Baseball delivers a major league blow to Georgia's economy, all because of their politics. New numbers reveal the All-Star Game's exit will cost Atlanta millions, and it's really going to hurt the little guy.